I actually had the first march in 1994. I was one of the founders. Me and 5 students actually started the march in 1994. So this is a very special day. It's 25 years to this date. The first march was held here in Kalamazoo, and the idea came from a student at Western. Says Mr. Chavez passed in 1993, and he says, "What are we going to do to commemorate the memory of Mr. Chavez?" I said, "No, Chavez was." Had those marches in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, in which we brought attention to the plight of the farm workers, and so we decided to do a march and commemorate his birthday, which is actually coming up on the 31st of March. Had he lived today, Chavez would have been 92.
How have you seen this movement grow over the years?
Like I said, when we started, it was myself and 5 students actually started the march. And I remember one of my students from Western mentioned that, it says, we're going to do this next year, because it was so little. We were walking down here on South Street. We came from Western, from the Bernhardt Center, all the way to City Hall. And we met in the chamber. It was a small group. The mayor welcomed us and he gave remarks. So this movement has grown tremendously. Then a few years later, after our first march, we were joined by the public schools around the area, Kalamazoo, Southwest Michigan, and we had as many as 1,200 participants. So it's has grown. Obviously, that's a testament to the growth of the Hispanic community. We're trying to commemorate the memory of the legacy of Mr. Chavez and what he stood for. His commitment to farm workers. He was a farm worker. I'm a farm worker myself, former farm worker. So obviously, I marched with him, and I brought him to Western in 1998. So the message has always been, be aware of the farm workers' issues, be aware of the issues in the Hispanic community, and we have so many. Not only farm workers, but we have the immigration movement. We have other issues.
So, what do you think about the Farm Worker Appreciation Week so far?
I'm so glad it's finally happening. I think it's something that's been long overdue, and I don't know. I'm really appreciative. I think it's a really cool act and cause because my parents are immigrants and they were farm workers and all that stuff. So I think it's really nice. Sadly, they're not able to come here, but I mean, we're here representing them, and I think that's what matters.
I think this is amazing what we're doing, showing awareness for our culture, for our parents. For me, this is amazing because my parents are undocumented, and for me to represent them here, that's just everything. I stand with immigrants.
How did you get involved with the César Chavez March?
Oh, the César Chavez March is actually being hosted for several years here in Kalamazoo. It was actually the Kalamazoo César Chavez March Committee that had a lot of partnerships with KPS, with Mr. Labuda, Ms. Hertwig, as well as Adrian from El Concilio, and as well as the great Michael Ramirez from WMU. So I'm just honored and humbled to be one of the coordinators for this year.
What's the message that you're trying to portray within this movement?
So we're really trying to portray and honor all those farm working families that we have here in Michigan. I feel like a lot of times they're very underrepresented. So a day like today, celebrating César Chavez, what other best day than today to celebrate him?
To recognize and honor. A huge impact that we lost in the early 90s, which is César Estrada Chavez. This individual did so much for our migrant camps and the community in Arizona, California, and back in them days. And for something like that, we need to recognize not only an important day like today, but we need to recognize each and every day that is very important. The things that César Chavez did with his people back then, and don't let that situation and issues to be forgotten about.
Our goal was to educate our youth about César Chavez and who he was and the legacy he left, what he did to change our world and our society, his commitment to nonviolence and protesting for people's rights. and just that we can motivate our youth to be more focused on education, their futures, and pursue their dreams.
Where do you envision this march going within the next few years?
I've watched this march grow from 25 people. We had it up to 1,200 people, and I think that this is going to become a really cornerstone event for our community, and it's going to get bigger and bigger every year, and its message is going to grow farther than is possible, I think.
So I envision this even being bigger. Perhaps we can expand more to Kalamazoo County and Southwest high schools. I know in the past they used to be way bigger, so the vision is really that, to just empower those Latino students that we have.
This is going to grow. I mean, we started with 5 students. Look at it, and I look at it today, and it's very exciting. So I see in the future nothing but growth. And I think the most important thing, we're educating the rest of America what Chavez was for, what our community, some of the issues in our community. So I'm very excited. I see nothing but growth, really.